She was just a poor waitress serving coffee, until the most feared Mafia boss walked in carrying his paralyzed brother. What happened next would shake the entire city. The cafe's morning bell jingled softly, cutting through the buzz of rain outside as Mia wiped down the last empty table. Her shift had barely begun when the black cars rolled up sleek, silent, and intimidating. Everyone in that little street cafe froze. It wasn't every day that Vincenzo Romano, the most feared Mafia boss in the city, stepped into a place where coffee cost $2. But Mia noticed something no one else did. The man beside him, a young, pale-faced man in a wheelchair, didn't look dangerous at all. He looked empty. His eyes were wide open but lifeless, his hands resting still on the blanket over his legs. The moment they entered, even the air seemed to stop moving. People whispered his name under their breath, afraid the walls might hear. Vincenzo's presence alone could silence the boldest soul. But Mia didn't bow or stutter. She simply greeted him with a soft, "Good morning, sir." Table for two. Everyone watched, wide-eyed, as the mob boss actually nodded. They took a corner table. The younger man, Dante, they called him, stared blankly at nothing while Vincenzo spoke in his deep Italian accent. "He hasn't spoken in 2 years, the boss said coldly. "He doesn't move much either. Doctors say the nerves are gone, but I don't believe them. I was told you help people, Miss Mia." The room fell silent. Mia blinked, confused. She was just a waitress. What kind of help could a girl making minimum wage offer to a paralyzed man from the underworld? But Vincenzo's tone wasn't a question, it was an order wrapped in curiosity. "Talk to him," he said. So she did. Every day after that, between orders and dishes, Mia talked to Dante. She told him about the sunrises he couldn't walk out to see, about the smell of coffee beans, about life. She spoke as if he could answer, as if his silence was just a pause. The other staff thought she was crazy, but sometimes, just sometimes, she swore she saw his eyes move. One morning, when she placed his coffee in front of him, his finger twitched, a tiny motion, barely there, but enough to make her heart pound. Mia smiled. "I saw that," she whispered. "You're still in there, aren't you?" Outside, the rain stopped. Inside, something began. Rumors spread faster than espresso steam. Customers began whispering about the girl who could talk to the Mafia's mute brother. Some said she'd gone mad. Others said she was blessed. But Mia didn't care. She wasn't afraid of the Romano name, nor the shadow it cast over the city. Every day she sat across from Dante, telling him stories, playing old songs on her phone, placing flowers in front of him, hoping one scent might stir a memory. And little by little, she began noticing changes. Tiny movements, small reactions. His lips would part slightly at a joke, or his eyes would glisten when she played his favorite music. When Vincenzo noticed, he came earlier one morning and watched from afar. The feared Mafia lord stood silently in the doorway, watching his brother's lips tremble for the first time in years. He didn't interrupt. He just listened to Mia's gentle voice filling the cafe like sunlight. "Sometimes," she told Dante softly, "pain buries us, but it doesn't mean we're gone. It just means we're waiting to be found." The next week, she brought an old guitar. Her fingers trembled as she strummed the first notes of a song her late father used to sing to her. The melody was simple, haunting, and full of hope. As the final chord faded, a cup fell from Dante's hand, his first movement in years. The sound of it crashing onto the floor made the cafe gasp. Mia froze. Vincenzo stood up so fast his chair scraped the floor. But instead of shouting, his voice broke. "He moved," he whispered. "He really moved." That night, Vincenzo sent guards to escort Mia home safely. It was the first time anyone from the Romano family had ever done anything out of kindness. But for him, it wasn't kindness, it was faith reborn. For Mia, it was the start of something she didn't yet understand. Weeks passed. Mia learned that Dante hadn't just been paralyzed by an accident. He'd seen his fiancée killed in front of him, shot by someone within his brother's own ranks. The shock had locked his mind in silence and his body in stillness. When Mia found out, she cried silently after her shift, holding the old photo Vincenzo had shown her. "He doesn't need medicine," she whispered. "He needs forgiveness." The next morning, she brought an old record player and placed it beside his wheelchair. She played the same song his fiancée used to sing, a melody full of laughter and love. As it played, Dante's lips moved soundlessly. Then a single tear rolled down his cheek. For the first time, he blinked twice, once for yes, twice for no. Mia understood. She asked gentle questions, and he blinked his answers. The cafe workers who once mocked her now watched in awe as the man once thought lifeless began to respond. But Vincenzo grew restless. "You're waking ghosts, Mia," he said, his voice low. "The people who hurt him are still out there, and if they find out..." He didn't finish. He didn't need to. The city was already whispering that the Romano heir was recovering, and that meant revenge would soon follow. But Mia didn't stop, because for her, this wasn't about mafia or money. It was about a soul trapped behind silence, and a promise to free it. The day everything changed, thunder rolled across the city. Dante sat by the window, eyes following the rain like old memories coming alive. Mia placed her hand gently on his, whispering, "You can let it out now." His fingers trembled, his jaw clenched, and then, with a sound that sent chills down every spine in the cafe, he whispered a word. "Anna." It was his fiancée's name. The room went silent. Mia covered her mouth, tears welling up. Vincenzo, standing in the corner, dropped his phone in shock. His brother had spoken after 2 years of emptiness. That night, Vincenzo brought her to their mansion. For the first time, Mia saw the world of marble halls, gold chandeliers, and silent guards. He looked at her and said, "You've done what no doctor could. What do you want in return?" She smiled softly. "Nothing. Just let him heal." But not everyone in that world liked her kindness. Jealous eyes watched her every move, and a whisper of betrayal was already being planned. One evening, as Mia arrived for therapy, she found the mansion eerily quiet. Guards were missing. The power flickered. Then gunshots. She ran toward the sound, heart pounding, only to see Vincenzo shielding his brother as masked men burst through the doors. Without thinking, Mia threw herself between Dante and a bullet meant for him. The shot grazed her arm, but it was enough to wake something deep in him. Dante's hand suddenly rose, gripping hers tightly, his first strong motion. "No," he shouted, voice cracking but powerful. The gunman froze. Vincenzo's men stormed in moments later, taking them down. The silence that followed felt eternal. Dante looked at Mia, his voice trembling as he whispered, "You saved me." Again. Months later, the cafe reopened, funded quietly by the Romano family. Dante, walking with support, came to see her every week. Vincenzo, once feared, became a silent benefactor to children's hospitals in her name. And whenever people asked Mia how she did it, she'd smile and say, "Sometimes, therapy isn't medicine, it's faith and a little love." If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to HeartLight Stories, where every tale reminds us that healing often begins with a single act of kindness.